Is President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa's war on corruption real, factional, or both? That's the question that's being asked by the South African Federation of Trade Unions, or Saftu. Ramaphosa has stood firm on his anti-corruption stance, but Saftu seems to believe otherwise. The Trade Union Federation is reiterating its position that the Health Minister, Dr. Mkhize, should be fired following the recent Digital Vibes communications contract, and failing to do so shows that the president is weak when it comes to really addressing corruption. Well, let's discuss their views now. National spokesperson for Saftu, Trevor Shaku, joining us now. Mr. Shaku, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday View. Why do you think the president's fight or war against corruption is not real? Because that's the ticket he came into power with. He promised South Africa that he will root out corruption.
Thanks for having us, Dan. As the South African Federation of Trade Unions, first, we have called on the president to act. As soon as Sunday Times reported that the report submitted to him by the Special Investigating Unit detailed and put the minister at the center of the Digital Vibes scandal. Firstly, as having had a hand in the awarding of the tender, but secondly, also as having benefited.
But the president said that there had to be an investigation first, or by then the SIU was starting its investigations. Didn't you sort of were jumping the gun a bit as Saftu? Didn't you have to wait for the SIU findings?
No, the findings had already been finalized and submitted to him. This is in July. And there they had actually found out that he had sent out an SMS, which in their view as SIU, that particular SMS had and put pressure on those who are dealing with procurement within the department to award that particular tender. But secondly, they had already revealed that there was a baki or a car donated to the son of Mkhize, but also that there was money which was commissioned to renovate the house which is owned by the family trust of Dr. Mkhize's family. Now, on that basis, we then resolved that this minister must be fired because despite the fact that at the beginning of this scandal, when it was being revealed, he denied all allegations that he had no hand, firstly, in the awarding of the tender, but secondly, in benefiting from the contract itself. Now, the Sunday Times revealed again this last Sunday that actually 4.2 million had been sent to his son in EFT method. Now, this is a demonstration to a certain extent of how this person, deeper extent of how the minister is entangled in this corruption scandal. And it is for that purpose that we, as the South African Federation of Trade Unions, have resolved that he must be fired and continue to reiterate that particular point.
Yeah, so the report we all know has been finalized. The president, I think last week, was asked by one of our eNCA reporters to say, when are we going to find out about the findings? When are you going to act on it? So is your sense that, yes, there's been a finalization, fingers are pointing at Dr. Mkhize and his family benefiting, but we don't really know yet what was the report itself, because we haven't seen it. Is your argument, therefore, that the president is dragging his feet on this matter?
Yes, that is our argument. And like I said, the affidavit, which was part of which was revealed through the Sunday Times article on Sunday, shows that there is indeed a benefit that went to the son of Dr. Mkhize. And on top of that, having had, because this particular report was submitted at the beginning of July, he is dragging his feet to act on this particular report. But more importantly, we think that the reason why he's dragging his feet to act on this report might be because there are factional pressures within the organization itself. And therefore, the realignment of forces amongst the factions themselves are, to a certain extent, part of what may be making him to calculate not to act against certain people. Because, for instance, there have been reports revealed which implicate the Minister of Higher Education in terms of corruption activities within the higher education department itself. There are also implications of Gwedemandash having been implicated in some of the awarding of tenders, especially in relation to the current IPP tenders, which mostly went to Kapoashik, the Turkish company. So we're thinking that because some of these people are his best lieutenants in the fight amongst the factions within the ANC, he is, to a certain extent, acting with hesitancy to deal with people who are in his camp when it comes to corruption.
So you want to see him acting ASAP against the likes of Dr. Mkhize because of this SIU report that he's yet to tell us as a country what is found. But you argue that the ANC factional battles are holding him back. So shouldn't you also be questioning his leadership as the president?
Indeed, we are questioning his leadership, and this is the reason why the statement is even questioning his commitment to fight against corruption. I mean, the public sector and the private sector are soaked in corruption. The reports from various institutions, IEDC, Mbeki's high panel on illicit financial flows, has shown, and countless other researchers have shown that the private sector itself is also soaked in corruption because they are busy with transfer mispricing, tax evasions, establishing tax havens, and taking trillions of rands offshore. This is the tip of an iceberg. What Mkhize has done is the tip of an iceberg. But we are saying that he must demonstrate his commitment to fight against corruption by acting on this one. Of course, we expect him to act on other acts of corruption which have been revealed, but also those which merely currently amounts to rumors and implications. He must actually ensure that he instructs that there are investigations that begin to unfold in investigating such people, including Gwedemandash and Lady Nzimande.
Mr. Shaku, finally, and very brief, if he doesn't, what is Saftu going to do?
We as the South African Federation of the Trade Unions will continue to call out on his, if this is on his part, it's a hypocrisy. Because if he does not act against corruption, though he ran into office first of the African National Congress, but also of the highest seat in the country, the Presidency of the Republic, if he ran into those offices on the cut of rooting out corruption and is not acting against it, we should continue to lament, but most importantly expose that particular campaign as a fallacy for a man who merely wanted to get and assume the office without really true commitment to root out corruption in the ANC, but also in the country.
Trevor Shaku, thank you very much. He, of course, speaks on behalf of the South African Federation of Trade Unions. They are questioning the real commitment of Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa as president, as he promised during election time a few years ago that he'll be rooting out corruption. They say unless and until he acts in this digital vibes matter, where the SIU has concluded its findings and handed them into him, unless he acts, and that including firing Dr. Zweli Mkhize as Minister of Health, they will not believe that he's standing against corruption.